My name is Liza, and welcome to my book club. Fall is my favorite reading season because I feel like the atmosphere is very fantasy, very eerie, very gothic, very cold, and I love that. Everything feels like a little dangerous and a little spooky. You know what I mean? So today I want to share with you 5 fantasy or fantasy romance book recommendations that give off that perfect autumny, winterish, atmospheric vibe. Think dark academia, haunted forest, cozy witches, drinking tea by the fireplace. Whether you want something comforting, spooky, or mysterious, I got you covered today. Let's get into it. So the first book I want to talk about is Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. If you know anything about M.L. Wang, you know that she is the absolute master of standalone fantasy books, and Blood Over Brighthaven is no exception. The first chapter, honestly, like the first 10 pages, will have you hooked immediately. I was reading it and I was like gagged within like 5 minutes. The writing is so descriptive and beautiful, very immersive. Everything makes sense, but it's also like a little mysterious, which keeps me engaged. So Blood Over Brighthaven is a dark academic fantasy that is set in a world where the magic system is based in academia and knowledge. Think kind of like Babel and Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Everything is very cutthroat, very do or die, also very mysterious. There's this otherworldly power that kind of smites people down and rips their blood and flesh from their bone until they're nothing but just disintegrated particles of being. And so that is kind of what they're fighting alongside a corrupt political sphere. We follow a young mage who is this brilliant young woman. She's ambitious. She's trying to carve out a place for not only herself, but all of the women that follow her. Because in this society, women are not allowed to go to the elite college that teaches you how to be a mage. Well, I mean, I guess they are technically allowed to go, but you have to like test in to this college. And they only test one woman every few years. And none of the women before our main character have made it into the college. And so she's the first woman in like hundreds of years to get into this elite academic setting. She thinks that she's getting a chance to prove that herself and all women deserve to be mages. But once she gets to this academic institute, she realizes that things are a little fishy. Things are not what they seem. And she begins uncovering secrets about how their mage magic actually works and where it comes from that powers this society. And the truth is way more horrifying than she could have ever imagined. It's really twisty, mysterious, dark, almost philosophical in a way, because we have this idea of like who holds the power is the person that holds the knowledge, but the people that hold the knowledge are the ones that have the privilege to be there. And as an academic, I really love academic focused fantasies, especially when they're done really well. And this book is done really well. I rated Blood Over Brighthaven 5 stars. And I think you will too. My next recommendation is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. This book is unlike anything that I have ever read before. It's this weird blend of different genres that are so unique and novel, to me at least, that I thought it was super, super interesting. It kind of feels like Sherlock Holmes stepped into like a fantastical world where trees sprout from people's bodies. So it's a blend of like murder mystery, fantasy, and almost like science fiction into one big twisted gay plot, and I loved it. The main character is also queer and disabled, so we have some awesome representation. We follow a brilliant yet eccentric investigator and their partner as they get pulled in to solve a murder that involves a giant tree sprouting from a man's body. The entire world in this book is so bizarre, so weird. It's like almost like bioengineered magic. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's like the best way that I can find to describe it right now is like bioengineered magic. Like it's not necessarily like academic magic in the same way that Blood Over Brighthaven is. It's not a traditional magic system. It almost feels like steampunky, just a little bit like steampunky. If you guys have read it and you have a better way of explaining this, please let me know in the comments, because this book is so unlike anything I have ever read. It's kind of hard for me to describe it to you. People in this universe can like reshape their body, change what they look like, enhance their senses. I don't know, it's so strange, but I really liked it. I feel like this book is perfect if you have like a rainy day and you want to read like one book in a single day. It's not very big, and I really liked that too. I feel like a lot of times these days fantasy books are so big for no reason. Like, why is this fantasy romance book 700 pages? Why? Why is Alchemized 1,000 pages? Please tell me, because there's no need for it to be that way. And I really like that about the Tainted Cup. It's only a few hundred pages, so you can definitely get through it in like maybe 1.5 days if you're like doing nothing but reading. The world building is incredibly cool, but I will say it is kind of confusing at times. I found myself having to like reread portions of it because I was like, wait, what's happening? I don't understand. So I definitely think that you should take your time reading it, just so that you can really experience and appreciate and understand what's going on, because the world is so cool and unique. I think it really deserves that. My next recommendation is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. This book is a very cozy hug. I love this book. This is not a high stakes epic fantasy by any means. It's an urban, like modern fantasy. There's like social media and stuff like that. Normally I don't reach for books like that, but I'm really glad I picked this one up. It follows our female main character who has spent her entire life in hiding the fact that she is a witch, because in this era, this universe, witches have to hide in order to protect themselves. She's also an orphan who lost her parents when she was a child, so she's kind of spent her entire life alone. She doesn't really have a family to, care for her and love her and feel close to. And she was fine with this. She's just kind of doing her own thing, posting secret pretend witchy content on her alt Instagram, basically, until one day somebody reaches out to her on her social media and is like, hey, I see you're a witch. I'm a witch. I got these 3 other witches that really need help learning how to control their powers. Come out to my remote home and teach them how to do that. And she's like, that's kind of crazy. Sign me up. And so she ends up going, and it's kind of like this, what are they called? Like the people that are like live-in nannies that go to like other countries to be a nanny. An au pair? Au pair? I think it's called an au pair. I don't know. You know what I mean. So she basically goes and does that to be like a live-in tutor to these 3 witches. And in this home, there is a really grumpy librarian that does not like her, does not trust her, but cannot seem to stay away from her. There is romance in this book. I don't think that the romance is like the primary plot, but there is quite a bit of it. I definitely think the plot focuses on this found family, like everyday storytelling, rather than a traditional like romantasy. It's very sweet, very cute. I just want to hug everybody in this book, and it's perfect for readers that love found family. My next recommendation is Where the Dark Stands Still. This one is a dark, romantic, kind of eerie, spooky forest fall book. It follows a young woman who strikes a deal with the forest fae that lives in the forest around her village. She goes out there to seek this flower that will get rid of all of her powers. And while she's trapped in this deal, she's also trapped in the woods. And as she's navigating this very spooky, eerie deal with a dark fae trapped in the forest, she's learning about this curse that the forest is under. And she's also learning more about the monster that has trapped her in this deal. This book feels like grim fairy tales, you know what I mean? Like there's the fairy tales that we tell kids at night, but then there's like the real ones that they're based off of that are kind of a little questionable. It feels kind of like the questionable ones. I wouldn't necessarily say this is dark as in like it has dark taboo themes. I don't think that is the case at all. But I do think that it's dark as in it feels like I'm trapped in the woods at night. Like it's physically dark outside. That kind of dark. And the romance is definitely very slow building. If you love atmospheric forest or darker retellings of fairy tales, I think you would really like this book. It's also like borderline monster romance, but like as a real monster romance girly, I don't think this is a monster romance, but when I looked it up, some people called it that. So I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't think so, but I mean, he does have like some monster-esque qualities to him. So I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And the last book I have to recommend today, I could not do a fall eerie gothic book recommendation video without mentioning The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. This book, ooh, this book is so good. This book really renewed my faith in fantasy romance. I think it might be technically more romantic fantasy than it is fantasy romance. It's good. Whichever one it is, I don't know. I know that I loved it. That's all I know. This book is so freaking good. Like, Rachel Gillig obviously is an amazing author, but this, The Night and the Moth, is very unique. The world is very unique. Like, it's very, very dark and gothic, and I loved it. I cannot wait for the sequel to come out. That is something to keep in mind, is that this is part of an unfinished series. This is the first book in the series. It was only released earlier this year, and I don't think the sequel comes out until sometime late 2026. So if you don't like unfinished series, then this one, maybe hold off on this one for a while. But please, I beg of you, eventually pick it up because it is so good. We follow our female main character, who is a young woman who has lived her entire life cursed. She was a dying orphan who was adopted by the Abbey and was forced with a handful of other girls to give up their past life in order to tell the future, basically. There's more that goes into it, but basically that's it. They have to undergo a ritual where they drowned in a pool, and while they're drowning in this pool, they can tell the future, the misfortune or the fortunes that will come for whoever has kind of paid to see their fate. She's set to like graduate out of the Abbey and go on with her life. She's kind of aged out of this part of her life, and she's looking forward to going and being like a regular schmegular girl in the city. That is, until all of the other girls around her at the Abbey begin to go missing. When a knight comes in with the newfound king and offers her a chance of freedom and also to find her missing sisters, she hops on board. She's like, yes, I will go do this with you, but we have to find my sisters. The two of them head out together to try and find out what happened to her sisters. And along the way, they encounter gods and goddesses and eerie forest and trials. It is so beautifully written. I was so engrossed with the world in this book, the landscape. I know that's kind of a weird thing to really love in a book, but the landscape was so beautiful. I felt like I was truly transported to this universe. All the while, as she's going through these different trials, trying to break the curse, she's learning more and more about why she ended up at the Abbey in the first place, what was going on while she was at the Abbey, and how the dark secrets of the kingdom and the Abbey bind them all together. We get such an intimate look into the thoughts of our main character. We really see who she is, why she's doing this, her thoughts, her struggles. I really loved the religiosity of this book. I thought it was really well thought out. And of course, the slow burn tension of the love in this book is so good. Like, this is truly a slow burn, heavy tension, high payoff, so freaking good. This male main character is literally like so delicious. I just want to like, you know, Anyway, those were 5 fall fantasy or romance or romantasy recommendations. If you end up adding any of these to your fall TBR, please let me know. If you read any of them, please come back and tell me what you think of them. I hope you love them as much as I do. I'm gonna try and be better about posting. I know I haven't posted in several months. Life has just been lifing. I honestly have only read like maybe 1 or 2 books in the past 3 months, which is kind of bananas. I've just been so busy that I haven't had time to sit down and read. And I use reading as an escape and I think like a form of self-care. And so I'm going to try and be a bit more purposeful to set aside time where I can actually read the things that will bring me joy. And hopefully that means I have more recommendations to share with you guys. But if you want to keep up with me in the meantime, it's Liza Likes to Read everywhere. If you guys have any good fall book recommendations that I didn't mention today, please put them in the comments. I'm always looking for new books to add to my TBR, especially fall ones. Until then, be good, be safe, bye.